Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Don't you understand, George? It's because you were not born.
Film church.
Well, a boy's best friend is his mother.
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing.
Hello, and welcome to Film Church Radio, the podcast that treats cinema as a religion. It's Sunday. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Lewis.
And we're here to talk about movies. Each week, Lewis and I alternate picking a film for both of us to watch and discuss. And today, I picked the film Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse 2023, our second 2023 film to talk about this year. It's a rare thing, so enjoy it. Of course, you got to listen to the end of the episode to hear what we're watching next week. But first, we want to say thank you to everybody who has been listening and sending their love to the show. We appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here. Be sure to subscribe if you like the show, and if you're new, hit that little bell so every Sunday you get notified when you wake up in the morning. And you're like, what am I going to do on this lazy Sunday? Oh, yeah, Film Church. We are on all the social medias at Film Church Radio. You can find cool little clips of episodes on there. And if you want to tell your friends about the show, you can just tell them to go to filmchurchradio.com, and that'll just send you straight to the podcast. We also have a YouTube channel with cool stuff on there. Go check it out. But yeah, just wanted to say thanks and share some ways that you can share the show. Before we discuss the film, we have a trailer/hymn section where we talk about other movies that we've been watching other than this film. Just kidding, we're not going to do that today.
Yeah, there aren't any. We've just been watching this.
Yeah, we've just been watching Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse on repeat. We also talked about Into the Spider-Verse last week before we went and saw this one. So if you want to hear our retrospective on that film and also our predictions for this film, you can go back and listen to that episode. But Lewis and I are big webheads, so we can talk about Spider-Man for hours, so we're just skipping the trailers and going straight into the feature presentation. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's how you wear the mask that matters. After reuniting with Gwen Stacy, Brooklyn's full-time friendly neighborhood, Spider-Man is catapulted across the multiverse, where he encounters the Spider Society, a team of spider people charged with protecting the multiverse's very existence. But when the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles finds himself pitted against other spiders and must set out on his own to save those he loves most. Spoilers.
This is probably a good time to say that if you haven't seen it, go watch it before we talk about it. We're gonna talk about everything that happens up until the final seconds, so there will be no surprises if you don't.
Exactly. But it seems like everybody has seen this movie at this point.
Yeah.
One week out. It's the top rated movie on Letterboxd.
Mm-hmm.
The number one out of 250 top rated movies.
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
I know.
It's so crazy. I mean, I love the movie. The movie's amazing.
Yeah.
But number one?
Yeah. I think the way that Letterboxd works, though, is that it's all the first reactions. It's not, about how many responses there have been to the rating system. It's just at the moment. I mean, if you're looking at it, like 60% of the ratings are 5 stars.
It's like how many? It's like out of the total number of ratings, how many are 5 stars?
Yes.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it probably, I mean, I think Parasite was up there for a while, and that kind of gradually like fell down the pecking order a little bit just as it evens out, which will probably happen. But
Yeah.
at time of recording, it's number one.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Insane.
I mean, I like, obviously movies, you know, they have to stand the test of time
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
to be considered great, but I'm pretty sure this movie's going to, bro. I mean,
Yeah, I think so. I think the only thing that may like bring it down, I think it's just the fact that it is a two-parter.
yeah,
You know, when you
it's all
think of
depends
Into the
on-
Spider-Verse, it's a perfect standalone.
Yeah,
You know, it leaves a little tidbit, but this is like to be continued.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, this feels more like Empire Strikes Back, which is everybody's favorite, or
Yeah.
most people's favorite.
Yeah.
And, you know, whereas Star Wars, you know, A New Hope was a standalone movie, weren't quite sure if they were going to make a sequel.
Yeah.
Kind of the same with Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
They set it up to, but they weren't quite sure how well it was going to do. And then, of course, they're going to do another one. But yeah, it definitely feels like, I mean, it's a huge cliffhanger.
It
you
is.
know? So
It is. Yeah. And they Chris Lord and Phil Miller came out today and said that, well, this week, and said that, you know, Beyond the Spider-Verse will be the end of Miles Morales' story.
Well, of this Miles, I guess.
Of
Which
this
kind of
yeah.
sucks. Like,
I
come
know.
on, it's
I know.
voice actors. You could literally keep going. Like, I want to
Yeah.
see this Miles grow up.
Yeah. I
you
know. Because he's still is he 15 in this film?
Yeah. So he's
I
still
think
going to
he
be
said, yeah.
15 in the next one because it's going to pick
Right
up right
after,
where it left
yeah.
off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think their reasoning for that is they're going to switch to live action.
Yes. Yeah. The Sony people have said that they are looking at Miles Morales' films now in terms of like bringing him into live action.
Yeah.
So I assume that that's where we're going next.
Yeah. Well, and also apparently these movies are extremely difficult to make as far as the animation goes because they're so involved and they have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of animators doing different types of animation and then putting them all together. So it's a long process.
Yeah.
I mean, my brother-in-law was just saying that like the spider people place, whatever it's called, the Spider Society took like 4 years to animate that whole thing, which is crazy.
Madness.
No wonder it took so long.
I know, but it looks incredible.
Yeah. No, it does look amazing. So like, all right, so what was that? What was that initial feeling coming out of the theater on day one, going to see this opening day?
I mean, pretty close to like Euphoria. I know that we had talked about Into the Spider-Verse and how it's so good to be like a Spider-Man fan right now.
Yeah.
Because the films are just so good. But this was like, it was next level in terms of just, it's the thing for me, and we're going to get into it a lot, I'm sure, but they're doing an origin story again. And as a Spider-Man fan, we have had so many origin stories, but it does not feel like lame. It does not feel tired. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the genius is, because it's something that we're familiar with, but we're getting it in such a unique way, you know? And I think my big worry about this one, which we talked about in the last episode, was like, oh, there's not really going to be a villain. But how they pulled that off, I don't know. Because the Spot is terrifying. Like, not terrifying as in scary, but like elevated to the point of, I don't know how they're going to beat him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's incredible.
And then on top of that, you've got, you do have Miguel as sort of a villain character, not quite, but villain enough to where it's, he's got someone to get around. And he has to face him. And then I guess in the next one he's going to have to face himself, which
Yeah.
I didn't even think about.
No.
That was a
Yeah.
stroke of genius, which we will get into, I'm
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, man, like for me, like coming out the first time watching it, I was overwhelmed, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and also, you know, left wanting more, which is obviously what you're supposed to feel.
Yeah.
But to the point where I was like, I didn't come out of the theater like, woo, like I did with the first one, because the first one is, it's an entire story encapsulated in one movie, whereas this is just part one. And so you come out being like, on this huge cliffhanger, which I love and care about these characters so much that I think I just took that out of the theater. So I just, like I went with my sister and my brother-in-law, and they thought I didn't like it because I was just like,
Yeah.
like, man,
Yeah.
just like not depressed, but just overwhelmed with like, I need more.
Yeah.
It's not over.
I know. Yeah. It was one of those where I kept checking my watch, not to be like, when's it going to end? But just like, I know it's going to end soon.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I just didn't, you could feel that clock ticking the whole time.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas like when you go back and watch it again and again, it you can just enjoy it for what it is. And I wasn't sure. It was weird because as a filmmaker, as I'm watching it, sometimes movies for the first time, I'm paying too much attention to the choices being made.
Yeah.
Like I'm paying attention, like it starts off with Gwen, and I'm paying attention to the artwork and the way that the colors change every time they cut to a new angle. And my thought is like, this is a very bold choice.
Yeah.
They can do that now with this second film, which we talked about last week. They will probably make more bold choices because they already have that audience built in.
Yeah. I have a theory for the next one.
Of what they're going to do?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Related to to what you were saying about Gwen. I think my theory is that he's going to save his dad pretty early on in the next one. And the whole film is about saving Gwen.
Saving Gwen from what?
Maybe Miguel. Because, I mean, it starts with her, and her kind of story in terms of like getting to this point of where she goes to get Miles.
Yeah.
And there's this scene where they're kind of hanging upside down from the building, and she's like, Gwen, Spider-Man always falls for Gwen Stacy, and it doesn't end well for Gwen.
Which is, we have to talk about that scene.
Yeah, we do. And I just see that that's how it's going to go. I feel that that's the kind of, if this is the two-parter and it starts with Gwen, it's got to end with her, right?
Yeah. Well, at least it needs to, it's got to wrap up her story. But also, I don't know. It's like, yes, it's a two-parter, but it depends on the creative decisions that they're making. Are they looking at this two-parter as like still trying to make part one an encapsulated film and trying to make part two an encapsulated film? Because if they are, they kind of, even though it's a cliffhanger, the ending of Across the Spider-Verse is like Gwen is the last thing you see, I think.
Yeah.
When she's like gathering all the Spider people we know back together. You see Spider-Man Noir and Peter Parker, Spider-Ham, and some of her other friends, and there's the drumming again. Yeah. And she like says, "Are you in?" She's like, found some friends to help. Are you in? And that's like what she says at the end. And you hear the drumming again, which the film starts with her drumming. So to me, if I'm the director of this film, which I'm not, but if I'm like creatively trying to bookend this film, that bookends it, you know. So now with part two, it could be something totally different as far as the core
back to Miles
subplot
again.
or whatever, obviously Miles is the main story, but like the subplot is Gwen, like you said.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
but the question is, will that be what, will
Yeah.
that continue? Obviously they still need to wrap up her story with her dad and stuff, but yeah, like how big is that going to be? It's
Yeah.
like you never know. It's like
I know, yeah.
I like your theory. Like I would be down for that. Like that would be a really great story because
It's just with all the talk of kind of like the canon, and that is canon. You know, Gwen Stacy does not fare well.
Yes, correct. But I think the point of the point of this movie and possibly the next one is that canon is bull,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like and that, like, that's awesome. Like I love that. I love that that's like the theme that they're going for, because yeah, it's like with a lot of these movies, like with Star Wars or, you know, any other superhero film, it's like, this is your destiny, you know, you're born for this.
Yeah, everything's got to be like
everything
connected.
Yeah,
you know?
connected. It's all for a reason.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of saying, no,
It's not. Yeah, exactly.
it's not. You know, there is no interconnected web. There is no, this is how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, you can make your own path and you can be whoever you want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Especially like, you know, it's like the part of this film where it kind of stands out a little bit is like when they go to India and the spot is the one that creates the destruction that like almost kills the captain and the kid, right?
Yeah.
But they're putting all the blame on Miles for saving him.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, well, you know, how are they going to die before, you know, if the spot hadn't have been there?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, what is the quote unquote canon? Like it kind of starts to fall apart anyway, where it's
because they're blaming him for, well, basically kind of being there, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, that's because
or just existing. They're blaming him for existing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, especially towards the end where he's like, "You're the original anomaly." You know?
Yeah.
And which I also like, because in our world, Miles kind of is. Like, it just in the existence of like superhero movies and multiverse movies. Like, this movie came out first. Like, multiverse is all what all these movies are about right now.
Yeah.
But Into the Spider-Verse in 2018 was kind of the first one to like introduce the idea of the multiverse to like big blockbuster mainstream movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because then what was the next one to even do it or try it?
Well, I guess it wasn't until Everything Everywhere and Doctor Strange, right?
I guess, yeah. I mean, this movie even predates Endgame.
Because that was I was like, Endgame, they go back in time.
Yeah.
But it's not an alternative universe, is it?
No.
It's just their own.
They introduced the idea of it, I think, because what's her name? Well, I can't remember the character's name, but Tilda Swinton in Endgame, she's like showing Bruce the timeline or whatever, and she's like, if you break the timeline, all this happens, you know. So they kind of introduced the idea of it, I guess. But anyway, my point is, Miles is, in our world, also an anomaly, like the original anomaly or whatever, which is dope. Like, it just adds this extra layer of meaning that like gives me goosebumps while I'm watching it. Yeah,
definitely.
but yeah, I mean, I like. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they could go anywhere with it. That's the thing. Is like, I don't know. I have no idea where they're going to go with it. But I like the idea of them challenging the idea of destiny.
Yeah. Because, I mean, it could, like I said, it could start with like Miles saving his dad and then the consequences of that. Like maybe not that Miguel's
Yeah,
right,
like
but yeah.
But I mean,
what-
he was saying the universes start to fall apart. So like,
Hmm.
what's gonna happen?
but wouldn't
that's
that have
probably
already
gonna be the climax of the movie. Is like
Yeah.
things start to fall apart, and then he's
It's how
got to
do-
figure out
yeah.
how to bring them back together.
But wouldn't that have already started if he'd already been bitten? Because that is an anomaly, right?
That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying like some of these things start to fall apart where
Mm.
you're like, well, maybe canon is just BS.
Yeah. Because the second time round for Miguel's story, I was really kind of paying attention because I was like, okay, like where did it stem from? And there's not that much information given to us about like how he's come up with this theory.
Yeah.
Because he's like, a version of me died. I saw what he had, so I kind of took over. And then things started to fall apart. And for some reason, Peter B. Parker is there. That's never explained.
Yeah.
And it's like, was this in Peter B. Parker's universe? Like, what
Oh, yeah.
is happening here?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because the multiverse. Yeah, we don't exactly know the timeline of Miguel's story because supposedly the multiverse stuff started happening when Kingpin created the Collider
Yeah,
in
Miles'
universe.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but why is... Because
Yeah.
Peter B. Parker is obviously very confused as to where he is into the Spider-Verse.
yeah,
So when does... I mean, yeah.
when does all that take place?
Yeah.
I mean, there are multiverse stories in Spider-Man. I mean, like the '90s show that I watched did
Yeah.
multiverse time
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And he met a bunch of different Spider people. So maybe it's just a different.
Timeline.
There's just like some a different timeline, different story
Yeah.
there. I do want more of Miguel's story. I hope we get.
Yeah.
I do hope we get more of his story in the next one. That was something. The first time I watched it, something that I left with was like I really want to see more of Spider-Man 2099. Like,
Yeah. And I feel like that's potentially the way they're going, just because they keep kind of starting to tell his backstory and then it's kind of interrupted. We get it really early when he comes in to fight the Vulture with Gwen, and it's kind of like his comic book falls down and he starts to go for it, and they're like, oh, we haven't got time. For all that.
Yeah.
And then later it's kind of like I said, a condensed version where there's a lot of like question marks. I mean, maybe the next one will start with him.
That's true, yeah.
Because, we've had Miles, Gwen. Maybe this is the next
Story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because... Yeah, that's true. That would be a good way to go. Start and end with his story.
I mean, the only worrying thing now, Brandon, is we've only got, like, at the most, 3 hours left of content.
Yeah.
And I just know it's not going to be enough,
Yeah. I mean, that's what I thought about Endgame, and I was just like, wow, I can't believe they wrapped up all 20 films in a couple of hours.
Yeah. And left themselves a high bar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like, I mean, every time Miguel is on screen, like, so I felt that way the first time I had watched it, feeling like I wanted more. But then going and watch it again, I've seen it 3 times now. It's like we do get a lot of him.
Mm-hmm.
We get a healthy portion.
Yeah,
and I was able to enjoy it much more the second and third time. Just enjoy the scenes that he's like on screen and doing action sequences and stuff. He's so cool.
He is. Yeah.
I just want more.
Yeah, and there's a lot in there that is hinted at, where he's interrupted by the helicopter at the beginning, and they're like, he's part vampire.
Yeah.
Like, where's that from? We haven't seen much of that yet. Yeah.
I mean, I could do a whole movie with just him. So maybe that will be what the next one is.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Him chase him. Well, yeah. There's
Hunting
a lot there.
wives.
I mean, there's a lot of cool characters introduced here, and I know that Scarlet Spider is kind of the butt of many jokes, but he looks awesome.
Yeah.
Like when he's on the rooftop in the rain and stuff, it's great.
Yeah.
And just like the last one, they introduce a lot of characters that you're like, this is great. This is kind of why I love this character so much.
Yeah.
Because there's so many interpretations.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So So Ben Reilly is the Scarlet Spider.
That's right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I just always knew him as Ben Reilly. I didn't realize he was officially the Scarlet Spider.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm.
I've just always liked his costume a lot.
Yeah, same. It's like the eyes and everything are really cool.
Yeah.
It's very like, is it not like the 90s version of Spider-Man?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, which is obviously what we grew up with.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously voiced by Andy Samberg.
Yeah,
who,
which is...
Yeah, who I love.
yeah, I do too, yeah.
And the first time I didn't quite get that it was him.
Yeah.
You know, and then it wasn't until like I looked at the cast list after and I was like, oh. And then when you go back, it's obviously him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's great. And I would like more of him too, but like you can only do so much.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
know, yeah.
You know, yeah, at some point you gotta tell Miles' story, which I think is what I kept wanting to get to the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
It's like, because there's a long intro with Gwen, then you get Miles, but then it's all mostly intro stuff. You're just like getting back to his life.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not till like the very end of the movie that you really get into Miles.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But, you know, and so, you know, leaving the theater the first time, I was questioning, like, I mean, I liked the movie, obviously, but I was like, was that executed well? Like, is that, I don't know. I was just not sure what to feel about it. But then going to see it again, realizing the movie as a whole, watching it again the second and third time, I was like, this is amazing. This is perfectly executed. Yeah.
I think what's important and what I'm constantly reminded of when I rewatched after Across the Spider-Verse, I rewatched Into the Spider-Verse. And what is incredibly poignant is the fact that this has obviously been thought out from beginning to end before they even started work. You know, there's things in Into the Spider-Verse that don't really make sense until now.
Yeah.
Until we've seen it. You know, when you think of Star Wars, like the last, where they just had no idea where they were going, and it was just like, run it. This obviously is going to have like a full arc from beginning to end, and everything will come together, which fills me with so much confidence. I mean, have you seen the stuff online that when he's with Peter Parker, the original, and he gets his spider sense, it's green and purple until it syncs with Spider-Man. So it's like the Prowler's colors, and then it changes to the blue and red.
Bro, that's
so
amazing.
It's like, and that's in like Into, you know. So it's kind of like his story there is being changed.
Yeah.
So I mean,
amazing.
I have full faith. You know, all these things that he came out and was like, oh, it wasn't really, you know, which I felt the same way as well. I was like, where is Miles? And where's his, you know, where is he?
Yeah, and what's his story?
Yeah, and I think they're gonna do it. This is the pre-work.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, which, oh man, I mean, it builds up to such a huge cliffhanger that it's just like, what? How?
Yeah.
Like, how are they gonna? Like, is it just gonna jump straight in, or, you know? But obviously, I have faith that it's gonna work. You know, but man,
yeah, it's exciting. It's very exciting. So obviously the film ends, and our Miles Morales is chained up, and his uncle is there because this is a different universe. And then he's like, I'm not the Prowler. And then we get another Prowler that is this universe's Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And that's how it ends.
Yeah. Brilliantly executed too as well.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to figure out that he was in the wrong universe? Because I didn't realize until, you know, he glitched. And I was like, oh. Because when that scene started happening, when he gets in his room and he's telling his mom, like, I'm Spider-Man. And she's like, who's Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Like, my first thought was like, this is so dumb. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I started to like, it's weird because I guess I was like looking for a reason to complain about the movie. And at that point, I'm like at the end of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and so then when that scene starts happening, in my mind, I'm like crossing my arms and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Of course she knows who Spider-Man is. Like, like Jeff is, you know, in the first one, he like hates Spider-Man
Yeah.
You know, so like, why would she not know who Spider-Man is? It doesn't make any sense. This is so dumb. And as the scene like plays out and the music starts to change, it wasn't until he glitched that I was like, I think at that moment, I was like, this is incredible. Like
Yeah.
that moment sold the movie for me, which again is at the very end. It took
Yeah.
that long on the first watch for
But
me
it's-
to be like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like watching someone at the Olympics, right? You know, the whole film is them flipping. You're like, okay, this is cool. I'm liking this. But it's not until they dismount and like do a perfect landing. You're like, okay, this is good. You know,
yeah,
this is incredible. I think I was in the same boat as you, but then going back and rewatching it, she like the first thing she says is, "Oh, you've changed your hair,"
yeah, exactly.
and it's
yeah.
like, of course, like it's right there. The room looks little bit different.
Yeah.
You know, it's right
Well, and
there.
Gwen is like right outside his window, and they're not in there.
Yeah, and there's a scene where they're still talking like before he glitches, and she like crawls in, and he's not in there.
Yeah.
And still, I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
he must have left the room.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There's so many clues, but yeah, it wasn't until he glitched that you are like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
It's just brilliantly executed. And
Yeah.
then Uncle Aaron comes in the room. I mean, just from that moment to the very end, it's just like on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
which the rest of the movie is super fun.
Yeah.
But it's not like quite like that, you know. Like
No.
that was a totally different heightened experience. Yeah, and then the reveal of Miles as the Prowler in this universe. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I know. And then, we get the little electric from his finger
Yeah.
on just before it kind of cuts. So it's going to be bonkers. I can't wait.
So do you think like who was supposed to be Bit in that universe? Is Peter Parker in that universe?
I don't think there's a Spider-Man in that universe, right?
I know there's no Spider-Man, but
Yeah.
there might be a Peter Parker.
Yeah, that just wasn't Bit. So he's just going to be a nerdy guy at school, right?
That would
Probably
be a really
college.
interesting story to see.
Yeah.
What would Peter Parker's
Yeah.
life be like without being Spider-Man? Because that's like something he questions throughout his story
Yeah.
through his
Yeah.
whole life.
I mean, that could be, Miles's example is like he's still living a happy life, maybe married to like Gwen Stacy.
Yeah.
And she didn't die. And it's
Yeah.
like, look, like this hasn't ruined anybody's life.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because so many of the Spider-Man villains are connected to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because like the Spot, for instance,
Mhm.
it's like he got created because Miles was Bit,
Yeah.
but Miles didn't have really anything to do with it. I mean, there's that line, a really funny line, like in the beginning when he's fighting the Spot and his dad is there.
Yeah.
And the Spot is like, you created me. And Jeff is like, Spider-Man, why did you create that guy? But like there's so many villains like that that like are connected, yet somehow tied to his story.
Yeah.
Where like if he wasn't Bit, they wouldn't have been created anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, what if?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, would the world just be at peace anyway? Like,
because the Prowler, like in the grand scheme of things, is a pretty like city level villain. It's probably just robberies and stuff, right? It's not going to be
like
world
heists
domination. Yeah, exactly. Maybe like bodyguard for hire and stuff like that, but not like Kingpin, for example. So yeah, I mean, it would probably there'd probably be a bit more crime in New York, but so yeah, that is exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I know.
I mean, we have till what, March?
Yeah,
which isn't too long, but
apparently, like Haley Steinfeld said that she hasn't recorded any dialogue yet.
Oh wow!
So that just, I mean, if I'm going off, just hunches, that tells me that they're keeping it as under wraps as possible.
True, yeah, because, well, they also were working on this film like a week before
Yeah.
it came out.
Yeah.
Like, they had literally just finished it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, a month ago, they were still working on this movie.
Yeah.
Trying to
That's
finish
crazy.
it. So, they probably put all of their efforts into finishing it, and now they probably have taken no breaks, and they're straight
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
beyond. Straight into the beyond.
I just want to say, as a Spider-Man fan, thank you for the hard work, because
Yeah.
you're making my dreams come true with these films.
Yeah. It's incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
again, watching it multiple times, you can just sit back and enjoy everything. I mean, the first, after you get through the first few scenes with Gwen, and then she jumps out the window and starts swinging,
Yeah.
I get goosebumps, like,
Mm-hmm.
watching her swing across the city.
Yeah.
All the swinging stuff, like, best Spider-Man swinging in any movie, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, in this movie
100%.
is, like, so great. All the scenes where they're swinging.
Yeah, there's the wonderful one where they're both swinging through New York together, and they're like threading the needle.
Yeah.
And, they're just, it's incredible.
So fun.
Yeah, it is.
Before I forget, it wasn't until this third time that I watched it that I realized that on Gwen Stacy's drum set, when she's playing in the beginning, what does it say? It says Mary Jane. Does it say Mary Jane sucks?
I think it says the Mary Janes. I think the band are called the Mary Janes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe it said Mary Jane sucks. And that was like the name of the band. But the Mary Janes, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's a good name for a band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so all the swinging is amazing. Obviously,
Yeah.
all the animation is amazing. The scene where they're on the, walking around the bank building, and then they hang out upside down,
Yeah.
and the camera like follows her walking over, and then the angle just switches to where, you're as a viewer, you're still looking at their faces, right side up,
Yeah.
but like they're upside down.
Yeah.
Amazing, brilliant sequence, and something that would be really hard to do with live action and look as amazing as it does in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, that's it, isn't it? It's like, it's showing us what can be done. Like you said, with the swinging and stuff like this, the things that notoriously are hard for live action to get right without reverting to just fully CGI'd.
Yeah,
people.
exactly. Yeah.
Where this is just like, we can do it. Anything we can do. It's like when they do go to the Spider Society, they're like upside down in the elevator.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's just,
It's
these
just
little
fun.
touches.
It's like taking all the, it's like, what you could do with Spider-Man is so limitless. And it's like, it's kind of amazing that like this is the 10th theatrical Spider-Man film, and we're still seeing things we've never seen before.
Yeah. The bit that gives me goosebumps the most is when Miguel is chasing Miles through the Spider Society, and he gets pretty close, and there's like a shaft with these doors that are closing, and Miles is like pulling himself up, and like it's just how I imagine it. It's just what I want to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. It's so fun.
It is.
Could you tell who the Spot was played by as you were watching it?
Not the first time. That was something I had to look up. I'm glad you're bringing up the Spot, because I want to talk about him a little bit. But yeah, Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah. Yeah. At first I was like, when I heard his voice, I was like, is that Jason Lee?
Yeah.
Then I was like, it's not quite. It sounds similar, but not quite his voice, I think. And then my sister was like, she thought it was David Spade. And I was like, close, but not. Still don't think that's him. And then at the end, in the credits, I saw Jason Schwartzman's name, and I was like, that's who it is.
That's who it is. Yeah.
Nicolas Cage's cousin.
Yeah. I didn't know that. Really?
Yeah. And you probably know Nick Cage is Coppola's nephew, right? Francis Ford, yeah.
Yeah.
So Jason Schwartzman is also nephew to Francis Ford Coppola and cousin to Nicolas Cage.
Wow.
Yeah, keeping it in the family, in the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. I mean, so the Spot, a supervillain or a villain that I haven't come across very often, and I know you kind of mentioned him last week because I hadn't really seen any trailers or anything for it. I was trying to stay as off the grid as possible. I mean, has this ever been done before when such a low-level villain has become this pivotal?
An arch nemesis?
Yeah. Like,
I don't know, man, because, like, yeah, it's like, when I saw him in the trailer, I was like, oh, well, that'll be, like, a kind of a cool, fun villain for him to fight in the opening sequence.
yeah.
I could not have imagined he was going to be the arcing villain in both of these films, like, you know, the big bad.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's such a wonderful idea to take someone that nobody has any, you know, feelings towards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And put him in that position.
Front and center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, like, all of his dialogue is a joke. Like, you know,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
I've got to find my holes or, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah. You know what I filled my holes with? More holes. And, like, yeah, in the part where he's like, he loses his holes and, yeah, he's trying to find him, and the construction worker is like, can you please stop talking about your holes? You're making everybody uncomfortable. But even, like, Miles doesn't take him seriously because, like, after he fights him, like, the first couple of times and he's hanging out with his dad, he's like, I don't think we're going to see that guy again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, I noticed in, you know, all the scenes where they go into, like, storyboard kind of animation drawing, there's a lot there too. Like, in the very beginning, when he first talks about how he was created and about how his spider, you know, it shows the number 42 spider coming from the other dimension. You see Miles with the braids in that very beginning, like when he first starts talking. It's just the back of his head. But, like, obviously after you've seen it a few times, you recognize, like, oh, there he is. Like, he's right there at the beginning of the movie, you know. And, of course, watching it the first time, you're not going to know.
No.
You're not going to think, like, oh, who's that, you know? Yeah, so it's like things like that, watching it on, you know, multiple times, you start to realize, like, how brilliantly executed this film is. You know? Yeah, it's a blast, of course, but all the spider people.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the ones that we see, and we'll talk about the spider people first, and then we'll get on to everybody else that kind of shows up. The one that made me laugh the most was, like, the 70s cartoon Spider-Man.
Yeah, where he's like, I can do anything he can.
Yeah. Oh.
He's like, oh, my back.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. He just swings forward and misses everybody.
Yeah. He's only, there's only so much his so far his animation.
Yeah. Swinging towards the camera is pretty much it.
Yeah. We see so many. I don't know. Yeah. I guess the horse, the what did he call him? The horse one, the cowboy on the horse. That one probably made me laugh the most.
Yeah.
But, you know, I did really want to, like, hear the voice of, like, the 94 Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that was, like, the one I grew up on. And he's probably in there somewhere, I would imagine. Because you get the cameo of, like, the, what is it? Like, the
noughties, like, maybe we're not talking about the same one.
Well, there's, like, the little short cartoon animation one. It's like the Spectacular Spider-Man or something, I think, from, like, the late 2000s or early 2010s. I don't know exactly when that came out. But, you know, so we get that one, so I kind of wanted mine to be there. But I'm sure he's in there somewhere.
Yeah. It is a film where you just want it to stop. just for a minute, just so you can like take in every single.
Yeah, you got to pause it.
Who's
yeah.
in there?
Yeah, there's so many
exactly.
things. Oh, the Peter Park car
Yeah,
was amazing.
Yeah.
And of course we get to see Tobey Maguire. We get to see Andrew Garfield.
Prolonged Andrew Garfield. We get the Activision, the Spider-Man game, Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Which is really cool.
Which also his friend is playing in the dorm room.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing like the Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
And Donald Glover. I mean that was crazy. Like they just did everything, which is crazy. It's like, I mean, they've got to be bringing Donald Glover.
I mean, that's the way it would fit in, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've got to be doing it. But also, if they don't, we at least got that, I guess.
Yeah,
but
because he's in full Prowler costume. It's not just like he's just hanging out. He's like, he's got the gloves, everything.
Yeah.
So there's at least, work that's been done on like his costume and stuff like that. I mean, we were talking about the next Tom Holland Spider-Man and how he wanted it to be street level. Like, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Prowler, Miles Morales, like bring all those people in. And then, Tom Holland can have a break if he wants one.
Yeah. I don't know. I trust that. I hopefully they're gonna do it right.
Yeah,
I say I trust them, but I'm like, hopefully, they're gonna do it right. But yeah, I mean, they also have to do it different if they're gonna do live action Miles. It can't just be the same.
Yeah, this is set the bar so high. They're not going to be able to do it without someone referencing this film or these series of films.
Yeah.
And it can't be. Yeah, it can't just be the same. We've had an origin story, and to the point where it's being made fun of in the same film.
Yeah.
So you can't do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I don't know
how they can. I don't know how
make
they can
it fresh
do it.
and and not necessarily top it, but just make it. I mean, they somehow did it with the Tom Holland ones, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. And I do like the fact that it wasn't like pandering to us, because it would have been so easy to have Tom Holland in there, like just like, oh hey, for a minute, but instead they took something that like that the fan, I say the fans, most people would know, but be like, oh
yeah,
okay, like we're nudging, you see this?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, just that one scene that we got in Spider-Man Homecoming with Donald Glover, with his name being Aaron Davis, and then saying,
I have a nephew.
Yeah, I have a nephew that lives here.
Yeah.
Like, just that little bit, I feel like people repeat that so much. Like, oh, did you know this? Did you know that?
Yeah.
Like, they, talk about that scene so much. And so now there's just like this extra bit of like confirmation.
Yeah.
For the nerdy fans to be like, see, look, there
Yeah, drooling over. Yeah.
But I mean, in that first sequence where Miguel and Gwen are fighting the Vulture, he does say, he's like, don't get me started on Doctor Strange and that little nerd back on Earth 1999 or whatever.
Yeah.
Which of course he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
It just reminded me of this, but like the scene where Miguel is meeting Miles for the first time in the Spider Society, and he's like on his little lair or whatever, and Peter B. Parker comes in and he's like talking to him and like just blabbering on, and Miguel is like turns around frustratingly and he's just like, oh, Peter. It's just like everyone's there's name is Peter. And he's like, oh, Peter. It just made me chuckle.
Yeah. There's a few other like cameos in there. I think when they're chasing him through and he goes through, I guess it's a training center, we hear
Melina as Dr. Ock being like, "Hello, Peter." Like in the background, it's kind of mixed in.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
The Spot goes into the Venomverse.
He does. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't that exciting to me, but everybody in the theater was like, "Oh my!" You know.
Yeah, it's the same. I was just like,
Venom.
"Oh, okay, yeah, okay."
Yeah. What else? I feel like there's more.
J. Jonah Jameson, played by J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
I mean, it seemed. I just love how that everyone is just like, "There's no one better."
Yeah.
Like,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because even like the Lego Spider-Man, which I would love to, like, just make a whole Lego Spider-Man movie. I'd watch that. It's funny because like when it shows him in the Daily Bugle, they're just using clips of J.K. Simmons from Spider-Man 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's just literally taken out of the movie.
Yeah.
They were like, we own this. We don't have to pay him anymore.
Yeah. I love how Miguel calls the Lego Spider-Man the best we've got. Or he's like, "You're one of the best."
Yeah. Yeah, but like Lego New York looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see more of that.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean,
I wonder if that was all actually stop motion.
Yeah.
It might have been. I know with like the Lego movies, a lot of it's animated, but it kind of looked real in this.
I think I read something that there was is it a 15-year-old that like makes stop motion like Lego movies, and he did some of the work on that.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's
so
dope.
Yeah. So I think like when he's walking through, to the bathroom, I think that was him.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. So it was probably him that chose to use the voice of J.K. Simmons just from the movie in that clip.
Potentially. Yeah, they had to clip. I mean, it's Sony, so they own it. Like you said, it's like, okay, we got it. But and I think, did I read, who was it that played that Spider-Man? It was somebody, I read it somewhere. I can't remember now. It was someone that, I know, this is not very good podcasting, I'm sorry.
Who plays Lego Spider-Man? Nick Novick? Nick Novicki?
No, that's not who I was thinking of.
James Arnold Taylor? I don't know. Google's giving me different things.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess there's the Lego video game. I wonder if it's the same, the Lego Spider-Man video game.
It probably will be. There was someone just credited as like Peter Parker that I knew. I
know that guy.
Yeah.
It's Peter.
I think the guy that animated it is the same guy that animated the trailer in Lego. So he did like the whole trailer in Lego.
Okay.
Yeah. 14-year-old Preston Mutanga was the guy that they had to come in and do some of the animation stuff, which is awesome.
Daniel Kaluuya played Hobie.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I love Spider-Punk.
Oh, Jack Quaid played somebody.
That's who I was thinking of. Yeah.
Dennis Quaid's boy.
Yeah.
And Jarrell Jerome plays Miles G. Morales.
So that would be 42?
Yeah, I think so.
So, okay, so I just searched it. Jack Quaid plays Peter Parker from Gwen's universe.
Oh, yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And then obviously we have, he's credited as Spider-Man India, played by Karan Soni.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I mean, have you ever seen Safety Not Guaranteed?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so he's in that movie with Jake Johnson. That's his name. Yeah. Yeah, so that made sense to me. I'm sure them working together had something to do with that.
Yeah, and then
Perfect
Issa Rae.
casting.
Yeah, Issa Rae is Spider-Woman as well.
She's badass, dude.
Yeah, I mean, again, the other thing that this does really well is the amount of representation in this film that isn't pandering.
Yeah.
Is that the right word?
Yeah.
When you think of the Avengers films and it's like, oh, all the women have ended up together and they're going to do a fight scene together.
Yeah.
And this is just like, it's not really something that's kind of ever, I don't know, outwardly
it's
mentioned.
Not just trying to be like, look.
Yeah,
look.
exactly. It just works narratively.
Yeah.
And the India setting is incredibly like beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
And in that sequence, we get another like nod towards Gwen because like when she falls and Miles catches her,
I know. Yeah.
it's the same way. It's like to the chest.
Yeah.
It's it's ingrained that's how, canonized.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's also ingrained in just us as Spider-Man fans. Like when we see Gwen falling and Spider-Man jumping after her, that you're like, oh no, no, don't, no, like there's tension built in.
Yeah, it's on the edge of your seat.
Yeah.
I know that we touched on it before, but the Andrew Garfield bit, which is pretty prolonged. I know that after No Way Home, we talked about if Sony were going to do Spider-Man film, if they were going to maybe go back to that. What did you make of it? Did you think that that's another clue, or did you think it made sense because it's there? They don't have to animate it.
I mean, it made sense, but it could have. I don't necessarily think it's a clue. It could be a test.
Yeah.
To see how people react to it.
And plus, I guess the Tobey Maguire, there was a Captain Stacy, but he didn't die.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like who knows? I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah. But I am excited that everything is just crossing over.
It's just working and crossing over, and that they're
you're not like
putting more effort into these movies,
mm-hmm,
like putting care and like actual like. I mean, I say that, but then you also get Morbius and
that's
Carnage.
I mean, if Spider-Man is not in it as a character, it doesn't. It's not on my list.
Yeah.
I just think as a Spider-Man fan, just how lucky we are. I mean, if you were like, a Thor guy, it's like, oh, this is okay. Oh no, it's getting a little bit better. This is great. Oh, they've ruined it again.
Okay. My theory. I just realized my theory completely falls apart from when we first started talking about. When we were talking about the universe that Miles is in at the end of the movie, and Earth 42.
Yeah.
We know there's no Spider-Man. There might be a Peter Parker that's not Spider-Man, yes.
Yeah.
But there are villains, because on the TV, when he's swinging Miles around, on the TV is J. Jonah Jameson talking about the Sinister Six. So there are super villains.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. And
maybe he convinces Miles the Prowler, to become a superhero and stop them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So much in there.
Yeah. Who knows?
I know. I mean, yeah. There's so much there that's going to be paid off, hopefully at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like the continuation of the emotional beat between Peter B. Parker and Miles.
Yeah.
Where they have their moment together and he's like, look, like, I had a kid because of you.
Yeah.
And it's like, that is great.
Yeah.
I love that bit.
Yeah. Well, as a dad of a small child,
yeah,
how did his whole intro scene make you feel when he's got like, what was her name? Was it Mayday?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that her actual name?
I mean, maybe it's just May, and then the nickname
and he
is
calls
like
her Mayday.
Mayday. Yeah,
that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the life I lived for a while. Is like, okay, she's right there, but let me show you photographs of her.
Yeah.
So you can appreciate, and they're just all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's great. It's a lovely moment, and the fact that he's excelling at it. He's a good dad by all accounts, apart from taking her to fight crime.
Yeah, apart from jumping off buildings.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "You think I'm gonna be any good at this?"
Yeah.
You're asking that now? And she's got like a Spider-Man mug.
Yeah, she does.
A coffee mug.
Yeah.
Which is great. I got one too. But yeah, that was a great thread. I wonder, I mean, you were pretty spot on as far as like your prediction on, that we will see him and Gwen, but not the other characters.
I think that was just more in like I'd seen like news articles and stuff about, a few years ago, Spider-Man Noir won't, Nicolas Cage won't come back for, blah, blah, blah. And obviously with John Mulaney being in rehab, I was like, I don't know if that would have worked, But I mean, you were again spot on with Penny Parker.
Yeah.
We'd
they
get
would
the
at
moment.
least show her with a new robot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, they kind of have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's the one kid out there that's like, but the robot's dead. Some kid cares about it.
Yeah. But yeah, the gang's all back for the next one. So, we see everyone, including Spider-Man India and Spider-Punk.
Yeah, on the team now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Hobie.
Yeah, Hobie's cool. Yeah. I wasn't sure at first. The first time I was watching, I was like, this animation is very different.
It is.
Not that I don't like it. It's just like, it's so different compared to everything else, standing out, I guess.
Yeah.
But
and he's got some of the best lines as well. I like when they find the Spot and Spot's like, is that a joke? And they all go through like, no, not at all. And he's like, I don't believe in comedy. At the end. And she's an anarchist.
Yeah.
And obviously, he goes back and helps Gwen, doesn't he? He gives her the...
Yeah, he gives her the thing. Well, he also helps Miles the whole time,
he
too.
Does.
Shows him, like, use your hands, And, obviously a fan favorite. I mean, all of his scenes, all of his reactions to things, like, the audience was just eating up.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Daniel Kaluuya getting to use his real accent.
I know.
For once.
Yeah. And I think that now with this film, like his filmography have grossed like $2 billion at the box office now.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, one of our greatest actors at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's in Get Out, he's in Black Panther, he's in Nope.
Yeah,
he's in
he did the
Black Panther.
Film, with Lakeith Stanfield.
I already said Black Panther, but I meant the one about the Black Panthers.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's one of the original Black Mirror actors before that was popular.
Yeah. Oscar winner.
What did he win an Oscar for?
For the Black Panther movie, not Black Panther, but for the movie about the Black Panthers.
What is that called? I want to say Black Panther, but it's not.
It's
not what it is.
Is it one word? It's not going to be one word. Judas and the Black Messiah.
Oh, okay, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is great. I mean, there's a lot more to talk about, but have we gone through most of your points that you wanted to bring up?
There's so much in this film. It's hard to even
I know.
Yeah. I feel like we covered a bunch of it, but I think as soon as we finish, I'm gonna be like,
there's more. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna be like, dang it, I forgot to talk about this and that.
Yeah.
I do feel like this movie will stand the test of time. For those of you who are angry about it being the top film on Letterboxd, go see this movie a few more times.
Yeah.
And you might change your mind.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously you can't, it's hard to say until we get the next one how impactful this film will be. But I think there's so much in this film to love, and to, you get something new out of it every time you rewatch it.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
But I think I do enjoy the first one more as of right now, just because it's so fun and so exciting, and doesn't leave you on a downer.
Yeah.
Obviously, the end of this movie, Across the Spider-Verse, is exciting as well, but there's just a huge weight at the end of like wanting more, needing to know what happens.
Yeah. I think that just in terms of animated films, it is such a milestone. I feel like these 3 films are going to be such a milestone for animation in general.
Yeah.
Because
well, it's also, it just as far as animation goes, we've had just the same old animation style for like 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
The CGI Disney Pixar animated style just feels so old and feels so like boring now. And now we're getting, some interesting stuff again. It's like the Gwen Stacy stuff in her universe reminds me of like the Don Bluth animated movies.
Yeah. Just the watercolors like bleeding in the background.
Yeah.
The
and
colors,
it's so cool looking, know, and so much more interesting. I mean, like, have you seen the trailers for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Mm-hmm.
That looks amazing too. It's like, I think this movie kind of paved the way for studios to realize, we can like make this more artsy and people will still like it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. And I just love the lean into the whole comic book feel of it. We get more of the kind of editor comments in this one.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, which...
And split screens.
Yeah.
And like...
Yeah, the freeze frames, it kind of slows down. There's the scene where, in India, where it's crushing, you get all 5 of them in kind of like,
falling from the
sky. And
it
just like, it takes its time to freeze, and you're just like, that would be a full page panel.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I do like the fact that it just slows down for those moments, and you get to like breathe it in and like really kind of pay attention to it. They're just doing it right.
Yeah. Keep doing it.
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, the only sad thing is that we have to, the next one will be it.
Yeah.
In this universe. Because I have full... It's not going to be like a 2-star, is it, the next one? It's going to be... No. It's going to continue through and just... I know this is early to say, but could this be one of the best trilogies of all time?
Could be, yeah. Could be.
If they stick the landing, I don't see why not.
Yeah. And then they make a 4th one just to be like, we can make more money.
Yeah. And it's really completely new, creative team, and it's rushed.
Different voice actors.
Yeah. Straight to video. Back to the Spider-Verse.
Oh my God. But the way they've set it up, they can kind of just cross over their IP and anything. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I would like them to kind of, maybe move to something else and see, but it's working,
Yeah. We've still got this live action Sinister Six coming.
Madam Web.
Yeah, Madam Web and all that
Venom
stuff.
3.
Yeah.
The head of Sony said that they're pausing on Spider-Man due to the writer's strike right now, the Tom Holland one. So that's in pre-production. But then Tom Holland announced, I think yesterday, that he's taken a year from acting.
Didn't he announce that right after Spider-Man came out? And then he announced it again.
What did I say to you on the last show? That I think that it's already pretty much the starting.
Yeah.
I think that it's going to come out, and then you're going to be like, oh, I didn't even know when they would have filmed this.
Yeah. It's just, he's just kidding around.
Doesn't want people to ask him about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Could be.
We'll
see. He's such a high-profile actor. He can afford to take a year off or take some. I mean, he's so young too. I'm sure there's a ton of people telling him to take some time off.
Yeah,
I mean, the guy works like crazy.
He does. Because No Way Home 2021, so we're a couple of years out. You know.
Yeah.
Far From Home was what, 2019?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I mean, they churned those movies out like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, it was like 2017, 2019, 2021.
Yeah.
It's like the fastest trilogy ever.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe the Star Wars sequels.
Yeah. Could not wait to get them out.
Well, cool. Let's guess what we rated the film.
Yeah. 5.
I'm going to say you rated it 5.
Yeah, you'd be right.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a 4.5 for me.
Really?
Like, how dare you? Which is what I said last time, because when I saw your rating on the first one, and it was 4.5, and I was like, how dare you? But you had changed it to 5.
I had.
I think, it's hard for me to give it 5 right now without knowing what's next.
Sticking the landing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do think it's a masterpiece, but I'm giving it 4.5.
That's cool. You do you.
Next week, I lied. I don't know what we're watching. I think we'll have a guest. And if we do, I'll see if I can add his clip in here, and I'll roll that now.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Mitch Norris from Broken Lens Films back again. I'm so glad to be back on this show. The film that I have picked for today is The End of the Tour, starring Jason Segel and Jesse Eisenberg.
Now we're back,
Wow.
and we still have no idea, but you do.
That potentially sounds great.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess that brings us to the end of the show. I could keep talking about Spider-Man for years, but, until the next Spider-Verse film, we'll be putting a pause on Spider-Man talks. I'm just kidding. I mean, we'll probably talk about Spider-Man every week anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that brings us to the end of the show. You can find us on all the social medias at Film Church Radio, or you can follow us individually on Letterboxd. I'm at Selmanscope, and Lewis is at WalkerLewis3007. There you can keep up with what we've been watching and rating things on a daily basis. Of course, we have all of our back episodes streaming on all good podcast platforms, especially Spotify, where you can get video of some of our guests when we do guest podcasts. Please leave us a rating and review and let us know what you think of this movie. And if you didn't, what do you want us to talk about and watch? Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next Sunday for more Film Church Radio. The only thing left to say is, I'm Spider-Man.
No way. All of us are.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. The end.
Question mark.
To be continued.